Hello, my name is Steve Dubos. Last name is Dubosc. I live in Angelina County, Texas, and my location, I will not give you out my current location as far as address or any of that, because I fully expect repercussions and I fully expect an effort by the Angelina County Police Department, Angelina County Sheriff's Department, and those to actually target me for some kind of reprisals for going public with this information. My background is not necessary. However, the fact is you can see that I'm a veteran and I've dealt with these kind of things before, these type of investigations. Now I'm approaching the FBI to, uh, to disclose the evidence that I have found and how it leads up to a pattern of abuse, corruption, death, and just a general, I don't know what I'm gonna say, just a general and apparent delay of justice. And these are the facts that I have found out. I hope that you can put one and one together and add one and one together, get up to two, and see where I'm going with this. All this information that I'm sharing with you has been documented with the Freedom of Information Act, documents that I have received, also interviews that I've conducted with individuals that have been in the jail or were in the jail as trustees, or any individuals that had access to this material or these events that I'm going to describe. I understand fully that this video will not be paid attention to in its proper format or forum, because of the fact is that any death in a jail is actually considered a local matter. However, the fact is that since it's actually involving not only our sheriff's department, but also the DPS and the Texas Rangers, held accountable for not coming forward with this information. So the following is this. I hope that you'll follow along with me. At the end of this, I'll give you my number and we can go from there. On the 24th this month, it was released per the Lufkin Daily News, KTRE, and KLTV, along with other news articles, that Mr. Michael Stolich, 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 yeah, died and passed away in the Angelina County Jail. Now, this is a stepping stone to the actual cover up of these individuals. I'll go back in time and I'll explain to you exactly what I found out in each one of these cases. Ms. Hartman received a settlement of $476,000 in 2022 for her lack for her death inside the Angelina County Jail. Ms. Hartman presented with pneumonia type symptoms in the jail. The jail denied multiple requests for her to see a doctor or medical personnel. Their point blank line was, "Oh, she's just faking it. She doesn't need to go." The guards made that decision, and no medical personnel, as a record, has been identified of giving care or actually being notified of the care from Ms. Hartman. Medical personnel at Angelina County Jail, they are contracted by Pacific Care Partners, the PCH, or Pacific Care Healthcare. Anyway, these individuals are responsible for the contract and actually medical adherence and medical facilities inside the jail. At this time, there is no information from PCH that, or will they identify any of the medical personnel that's actually on the roster, and that was actually on duty at the time of these incidents. So Mrs. Hartman was announced dead at the hospital, and her death was caused by pneumonia, a condition that got worse when she was in the jail. No medical attention was applied, so she ended up passing away. The next one is Mr. Glenn Earl Smallwood. He passed away last year in October of last year. Mr. Smallwood was arrested for public intoxication by the Lufkin Police Department. Video shows that Mr. Smallwood was having a psychotic moment or hearing voices, talking to people who weren't there, saying things that were just basically, he was having an incident. So much so that the officers who were involved in the arrest stated, "Oh, he's on something, man. He's out there. He's on something or whatever." He was taken to Angelina County Jail as well and placed in detox. While in detox, we are unaware of what happened. We are unaware of the time that he arrived in the jail. We can only go by the time frame that's actually provided for us in the documentation that we received. Mr. Smallwood, upon his arrival in Angelina County Jail, had a cut and abrasion at some time, received a cut and abrasion to his forehead. This was identified in the autopsy report. The autopsy report also stated that he had been restrained sometime in his stay at the Angelina County Jail. Time that he got to the jail was 9:52 in the p.m. At that point in time, he was placed in detox. And due to some reason that we cannot ascertain, he was placed in confinement. And we know this from the coroner's report because it mentions that there are bruises to his arm and to his leg, exactly where the constraints would go. The coroner's statement says that based on prior knowledge of Mr. Smallwood, that they need to put him in restraints. This is the coroner's statement. However, the fact is that once the decision was made to put him in restraints, there was not a medical personnel there. There was no supervisors there. There was not. So at 11:36, the coroner's report states that he died at 11:36. The key point here is, let me say this again slow, he was dead at 11:36. The booking report that we received stated that he was not booked into the jail until 12:28. Also, at this particular time, after this incident occurred, DPS and Texas Rangers were advised to start an investigation. The officer in charge of this was Texas Ranger Hicks, or DPS Officer Hicks, John Hicks. He was responsible for doing the investigation. On looking at his investigation, there was only one person interviewed and deposed. He was responsible for doing the investigation. On looking at his investigation, there was only one person interviewed and deposed for this death. His name was Sheriff Selman, who wasn't even there. There was no trustees, no personnel employed by Angelina County deposed or actually even questioned. The only thing we have to go off of is one Sheriff Selman's statement. Trustees have come forward to say during that evening, and they were actually transporting him to the hospital, the trustees needed to go into the cell and clean up blood from his detox cell that Mr. Smallwood had occupied. They had to clean up the blood. In other words, the entire incident, all the evidence produced at this particular time was contaminated because the fact is they altered the crime scene. The crime scene was not was not taped off. It was not secured. There were inmates coming in and out, and they were all trustees who had knowledge and had access to this facility, which is the booking area. we have received, the, the individuals who were on duty. We have the booking report. We have the coroner's report. We also have the standing operating procedures of Texas jails and also the United States operations of jails. This gets murky because of the fact that it's a county jail. However, they are still responsible for the same type of care that we give in other jails. SJIS was the jail information. They're in charge of the inspection of these jails. This information was forwarded to them, and the reply was, we can't do anything. Second of all, we actually requested a video from the county attorney, from Sheriff Selman, from the OAG, from Texas law enforcement. We were denied based on an opinion by our Attorney General, who stated that, or who agreed with that, it would cause personal, it would, well, first of all, it was a security breach or a security issue because of national security, and that we would know where the videos were located. Next instance was quoted as the public privacy of the inmates that were there. This is the booking area. There's only authorized individuals that are actually there or to conduct business there. Also stated that the screens was top information being shown if they showed the video, as far as the computer screens, as far as all other information that could have been seen from these cameras. The question was at that particular time, if there is a security risk, if there is public risk, if there is any of these things, then you can redact it out. We still have the right to find out how Mr. Smallwood passed away. We have been not denied that by the OAG and also by the Attorney General's office. So now you can see why we're going to now you can see why we're going to the federal level. Mr. Smallwood's death, tragic, could have been prevented if we would have put in place the measures that we learned from the Hartman incident. These were not done. The turnover of a sheriff from Greg Sanchez to Sheriff Selman is questionable because the fact is that they did not recognize that they had a standard of operating procedure for their employees and also for the inmates housed at the jail. On asking or putting a freedom of information request in that Greg Sanchez, he said that there was no written documents found for any type of operating procedures. Sheriff Selman came into office after Sanchez retired. Sanchez retired early. He had 2 more years on his contract. We do not know the true reason why Mr. Sanchez retired. However, we do know that when we put a freedom of information request for Selman, then we do know that Selman provided us with the SOP. On page 17 of this SOP, it clearly states the requirements of putting a person in restraints. There must be a supervisor and there must be medical personnel. We know at the time that Lieutenant Rodriguez was in charge. He was not there. We're unclear if he was even notified to put him in constraints. We also know that the medical personnel was not present. The medical personnel took him in. He took his blood pressure. Her statement was as quote, "It is high, but in the range of an intoxicated person." Remember that. So as we go forward and we pursue this case further, it's an imperative to actually put this investigation to rest if we have the video to coincide with the statements provided by the Sheriff Selman. Blocking of this video has actually created a monster. In the video that we requested, it would show the time, the entire timestamps, entire issues, everything that actually happened to cause Mr. Smallwood's death. It has been denied. The county district attorney during this time frame, she has recently resigned from her office for political reasons. We do know that when she actually presented the report from James Hicks, Officer James Hicks, to the grand jury, and the grand jury could find no evidence of wrongdoing. However, the fact is they were not shown the video. They hid that information. Officer James Hicks, or Texas Ranger James Hicks, has actually been reprimanded more than one time for his cooperation with the district attorney and other individuals in Angelina County. In this case scenario, on his report, Mr. Hicks did not interview any other persons, and he listed those people, but he didn't even talk to them. There was not one person interviewed for the record. This is the cover-up. Second, Mr. Stoller, same scenario, came in, public intoxication. He was put in a detox cell for 2 days. They didn't book him. Why didn't they book him? Because they said he was incoherent and unable to be booked. Said they had to wait 2 days for him to sleep it off, for him to appear in front of, to be booked, do the paperwork for him to be in book. So in other words, there was 2 days that he was in jail that nobody knew where he was at. Nobody knew his condition. Nobody knew except for the jail personnel who were not really relinquishing information. We will see if the video will actually tell us, or will it be denied. If this video is denied, this will create a continuing pattern of malfeasance and of civil rights violations inside the county jail to coincide with the deaths of individuals because of this type of treatment. We have 3 cases. How many more do we need to have? Somebody look into this and verify all the information that I have verified. Currently now I have all this information. I have it locked away, and the reason why I do is because the fact is that it has been known they altered documents. I have protected these documents in the original form. The original form when I received them from the county attorney, and also from the coroner's report I received from Judge Cheshire. A simple analysis of this would be clear. They left the investigation up to the county. They did not look into it. They did not investigate it. They just left it. They left it up to the county, who actually made a bold statement by the sheriff who wasn't even there in Mr. Smallwood's case. And now we're going to see the same thing happen again. Coroner's report is due out this week. Statement put out by Selman, as the fact is that he put the time frame, but he also had to admit the fact is that he was 2 days in jail without any proper medical care. The fact is that he was 2 days in jail without any proper medical care, and he died as a result of it. We look forward to these documentation, and we anticipate that these documents, as much social media as this is getting, and as much as information that we are putting out there, we suspect that there will be altered. We suspect that the information provided will be altered and also corroborate a story and paint us a picture. However, inside sources that we have inside Angelina County have promised us that they will give us the full reports, and they will give us the information, the actual information, before it was doctored or before any malfeasance comes to these documents. It is imperative that we receive the videos from both of these instances, Mr. Smallwood and Mr. Stolitz, to determine within a year why that two people died in Angelina County Jail. And we have had no investigation, no formal investigation, just a rubber stamp from a Texas Ranger and from a police officer, or if he's a police officer, I don't know. They list him as DPS, list him as a DPS, list him as a DPS officer. He goes by the title Texas Ranger. There's no documentation to prove that he's a Ranger. And there is documentation to say that he was actually reassigned from Angelina County 2 years ago because of the certainty. 2 years ago, because of these type of instances, not fully reporting, not fully doing an investigation. He was actually reassigned and reprimanded. So there is the information that I have. I understand that this is a local matter. I understand it should be handled by local police. I understand it should be handled by state police. I'm here to attest that it's not being handled, and it is the answers that we are being provided as citizens do not add up. There has got to be an entity who will look into these documentations, and I'll guarantee you, if you look into this documentation, you will see a pattern, and you will see it. It's blatant. I'm a mere sergeant, Marine Corps Security Forces, Army Security Forces. I have a basic knowledge of intelligence, how to gather intelligence, what to look for, what not to look for, and I can tell you this stinks to high heaven. And it's continuing to happen. If these were isolated incidences, then we would actually be able to determine, we would not really be able to determine the cause of these actions. However, the fact is that since these accidents happened, it all boils down to one thing. Not the proper medical procedures were followed, and decisions were made to receive care by individuals who are qualified. It is suspected that for some reason, shape, form, or fashion, that they held these individuals in contempt and actually administered justice by not allowing them to seek medical help or ignoring medical help. We ask as individuals, as a citizen, that our federal government look into this. We think it warrants, with the type of behavior and by the type of corrections facilities that are actually coming forward and giving tours, explaining how their jail system works, explaining the process to the taxpayers is very vital. To answer the question if it would actually be a security risk or a privacy risk, or any of these above factors the Sheriff Selman used, I would caution you, and you could look it up. Sheriff Selman sitting there with a full, he's very, very proud of it, with a full architectural plan for not only the expansion of the jail, but also the current jail and the current systems and actually what's actually in place, stating the rooms and definitions of what these individual units are and how the jail actually is set up, how it actually works. And I don't know about you, but if I was planning a breakout, I would use that schematic drawing more than I would what's on video. But that's just me. And that's not a threat. I'm just saying if anybody was going to do something, be very careful with my words before I go to federal jail. I have dealt with the FBI before. I have notified these individuals that there were troubles in the Sheriff's Department. 4 years ago, there was an incident involving the Sheriff's Department where excessive force was used on an individual. It was blatant for everybody to see. We still have that video. Angelina County Sheriff's Department, Angelina County government, every head that knows or contributed to this cover up needs to be investigated. And I'm going all the way to the commissioners because they knew. I know they knew because the fact is that I was inquiring into this and I asked them and I made them fully aware of these incidences and the facts that I had found out to this day, asking for an answer. see if they could explain it. But it also took away one other thing, plausible deniability. They can't say they didn't know because I have the emails to prove it. I have the responses to prove it. So if you'd like to contact me and you do believe in justice and you really are there for the FBI and actually for the service of the people, please give me a call at 936-219-7853. I'll be happy to answer anyone's call, and I will happily meet anybody in a public setting. However, I will not agree to any meetings separately because the fact is that I don't want to walk into a setup. With this knowledge that I have currently right now and that I'm currently continuing to gain, there is very many reasons why they would want to shut me up, including gaslighting, including bullying my family, including bullying my wife, because I'm the one who's actually telling what's actually going on. Bullying my wife, because I'm the one who's actually telling what's actually going on and can prove it. So thank you for your time. I hope that God finds you, saves you, keeps you, and helps you in your endeavors. But we are asking for help to identify a pattern of deaths in a facility all of these could have been prevented. They got blood on their hands, people. They got blood on their hands. Thank you for your time. Look forward to your call. If not, I'm still gonna be sending out these messages to everybody. I'm sending them out to everybody because the fact is that this cannot go on. This veil of silence cannot go on to our people that I swore to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Thank you very much for your time.